Good afternoon and welcome to the court's January 2025 swearing-in ceremony. Please keep your audio muted throughout the ceremony. If you wish to follow the speaker, you may want to set your view to speaker view. Now, Mr. Julio Castillo, Clerk of the Court of Appeals, will offer opening remarks.
Julio, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my apologies, everyone. My laptop is not cooperating. I've had problems all day. That's not an indication of how smooth things will go, so my apologies. I just wanted to let you know that, as Ms. Farmer said, please keep your phones on mute. Also, I will be administering the oath, and when I administer the oath, I will use the word swear. If you object to using that, you can substitute the word affirm in its place. And I'll turn the mic over now to Ms. Farmer. Thank you, and my apologies again.
The courtroom clerk will now open the courtroom.
All persons having business before the Honorable Associate Judge, now presiding over the District of Columbia Court of Appeals, draw near and give your attention. God save the United States in this honorable court. This honorable court is now in session. Please come to order.
The Honorable Judge Deal will now offer introductory remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the District of Columbia Court of Appeals. My name is Joshua Deal. I'm an associate judge on the court. On behalf of all my colleagues, I'm pleased to welcome you, the prospective new members of the bar, and I hope to see some of you in the courtroom in the years to come. I also want to extend a warm welcome to the friends and families who are able to join us today. The Court of Appeals is a relatively new court. It was created by Congress in 1970 to review appeals from the Superior Court of the District of Columbia and the district's administrative agencies. The court created the DC Bar, and it is our duty to oversee its members, including to rule on motions for new members. And today, that motion will be made on your behalf by Ms. Ilea Welch, staff attorney for the Committee on Admissions. Ms. Welch?
Thank you, Judge Deal. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Committee on Admissions of the District of Columbia Court of Appeals, I, Ilea Welch, staff attorney for the Committee on Admissions, District of Columbia Court of Appeals, move the admission to the bar of this court these applicants whose name appear on the attached list and who have satisfied the requirements for admission to the bar of this court. On behalf of the Committee on Admissions, I certify to the court that these applicants possess the necessary qualifications for admission to the bar. Thank you. Judge Deal.
Thank you, Ms. Welch. I have received and reviewed the motion before today's ceremony, and I know the Committee on Admissions has spent a great deal of time on your applications. They would not have put you on this list before me if you were not fit for admission. And so, having reviewed and considered the motion, I am pleased on behalf of the court to grant the motion to admit today's candidates as members of the DC Bar. And here comes the really important part. If you've stepped out of the room, run back, because we're getting ready to administer the oath, and I'll turn the floor back over to Mr. Castillo, our clerk of court, to do that. Mr. Castillo?
Thank you, Judge Deal. Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that as a member of the bar of this court, I will demean myself uprightly and according to law, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America. Congratulations, and please be seated. I turn the mic over now to Ms. Farmer.
Honorable Judge Deal will now give judicial remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Farmer. Mr. Castillo, on behalf of my colleagues on the District of Columbia Court of Appeals, I want to extend our heartfelt congratulations to the newest members of the Bar of the District of Columbia. Having now taken the oath, you are officially members of one of the largest and most distinguished professional organizations in our country. I hope in just a few minutes you'll have a chance to celebrate that. But first, it is a tradition for the presiding judge to make some remarks, so I'm not through with you just yet. I will begin by encouraging you to do two things today. The first is to take some time to reflect on the journey that brought you here today. And the second is to consider just how different that path has been for some of your peers who are also sworn in today. For some of you, your admission to the bar is a mere pit stop on a road that has clearly been paved before you for decades. Maybe your parents are lawyers and you've known since you were a child that you wanted to be one as well. Or maybe you knew in high school that you wanted to become a lawyer because you did debate and figured that's similar enough to what lawyers do. But for others among you, this day was far from certain. Perhaps you're like me, a first-generation college graduate who didn't know any lawyers growing up, so you had no idea what you were getting yourself into when you went to law school. Maybe you had a hard time getting into law school, and a harder time still with the rigorous coursework that comes along with it. Perhaps you didn't have the money to spend on top-of-the-line bar prep materials, or the time to dedicate months or even weeks to exclusively studying for the bar exam, because you have a family to take care of, or you had to make ends meet. The reason I am asking you to think about these very different journeys among you is that if you're in the first group and today was just the inevitable culmination of what was always bound to come, you should remember that you're surrounded by people who overcame a lot to get here and appreciate that you're sharing this day with them. And whichever camp you fall into, the preordained lawyer or the one who had to scratch and claw for every inch to land here, you are all in it together now. Your bar cards are all made equal. They will all be printed on the same laminated cardboard, and none of those cards come with a special stamp indicating whether this was especially easy or hard for you. There are a lot of great law students who turn out to be lousy lawyers. And there are a lot of lousy law students who turn out to be great lawyers. Your path from here is anything but preordained. It will be determined by who works harder, who represents their clients with the tenacity and zeal that they deserve, and not by who got the best grades in law school. So from here, don't rest on your laurels, take some time to celebrate, but soon you'll have to get to work. Because of your hard work and training, others will look to you for guidance and counsel to help them solve the problems that they face. I promise you, it's going to happen a lot. Friends and family will ask you to review their wills, their business contracts, their leases, etc. You might, like me, get an occasional phone call from a jail cell because you're a lawyer now and you're the only person some friends and family can turn to for help. When that happens, I want you to remember this simple phrase that lawyers are often too reluctant to say: I don't know. Because you probably won't. Don't pretend like you have answers that you don't. That's a quick way to come up with bar discipline proceedings. Law school and the bar exam do not arm you with all or even a fraction of the answers, no matter how much some lawyers think otherwise. But even when you don't know the answer, which is going to be most of the time, you should now have the tools to figure out what the answer is. That's the power of a law degree. And I hope you will use that ability to do some good in the world. You're not all going to become public interest lawyers, but you can all make it a point to take at least one pro bono case per year and to volunteer sometime each year to the many pro bono causes that we have here in the district. Before I became a judge, most of my career was spent as a public defender, representing people who could not afford to pay a lawyer in criminal cases. In my humble opinion, there's really no more noble or satisfying legal work than the work you do in the service of others and your community. Finally, remember that in this line of work, your reputation is everything. No matter how good it is, you can always ruin it quite quickly. If you leave the cat Instagram filter on your Zoom call during one court hearing, it doesn't matter how great the rest of your career has been, you're now just forever that cat lawyer guy. And if you call the wrong Four Seasons and end up doing a press conference outside of a lawn and garden store, you're now the Four Seasons landscaping guy. I obviously wrote these remarks several years ago, and I haven't updated the references. So I'm now the judge who swore you in while making outdated references that were clearly written back in 2020. So jealously guard your reputations. Apart from avoiding major gaffes, be civil with your adversaries, treat your clients with decency, and be kind to your employees and employers. Before you become a judge in DC, you're put through a pretty extensive background check. And having gone through that some years ago, I can tell you that your life is going to be easier if your career path isn't littered with enemies. I'm all for having an enemy or two just to measure yourself against, but try to keep it to the single digits. And now I will leave you with my congratulations and the congratulations of my colleagues on the court. We know you will all do us proud. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you all, and good luck in your careers.
This honorable court is now adjourned.